and to invest in creating transit and creating the kinds of support to invest.
This room is full of Liberals who don't need a debate to help them decide who to vote for. They're hoping this man can lead them out of the political darkness in Vancouver South. Harjit Sajan is a former police officer and a decorated soldier who's now battling to retake a riding the Liberals once dominated.
Ujjal Dosanjh held this riding for the Liberals. Before him, Herb Dhaliwal.
That's right.
The Conservatives took it in 2011. What makes you think you can take it back?
Well, one of the things is I grew up in the neighborhood, and so one, I know it very well. I know its challenges, I know its successes, and I like to think that through those challenges, I was one of those kids that actually, through the community and through my parents, I was able to, make something of myself. And now it's my chance to give something back to my community. And I also had that opportunity earlier on when I was with the Vancouver Police. So I was a police officer for 11 years. I got to serve in this riding when I was in patrol. This is where I was assigned. And so I got to see the whole riding in a completely different perspective. So having grown up, seen it as a police officer, helping the community, and now knocking on doors and looking from a different perspective. So one, I think that the biggest connection I'm making with the people at the doorstep is when they not only learned that I was a police officer, but I actually served in this riding. So not in patrol, and then even when I was in gang squad, working on a wider area, a lot of the work I still did was actually in this area.
So you're knocking on doors, talking to people. What are they telling you in terms of the issues?
Well, one thing I've always known about South Vancouver, and like I said, having grown up here, is the issues are very local. It's about what impacts the family. And so it's not just strictly about issues we're looking at for the bigger picture. I think the economy, healthcare, the environment are always front and center. But the future of the children comes up, right? Or issues about playgrounds, community centers. These are the things that always pop up, and it's very interesting. Even though when I was growing up, and we had those same viewpoints, and as a police officer, same thing. What impacts them? And that's one of the things that I've found is very important that I need to start looking at is when they're looking at their families. More we could do from a federal government perspective for families is what makes a better future for them.
Vancouver South was taken from the Liberals by Conservative candidate Wei Young, who's running again. She was elected in 2011 in spite of the controversy generated then from Young's meeting with one of the men acquitted in the Air India bombing trial.
Wei Young declined to talk to us for this program and explain why she would be the best MP for Vancouver South.
That report was filed in 2011, and this year Wei Young is again declining to talk to us to explain why she would be the best MP for Vancouver South. But she has been talking to some of her constituents, and her comments have been somewhat controversial.
Wei Young, a Tory MP from Vancouver, gave a blatantly political speech at a church. She compared the Harper government to Jesus. That's led to all kinds of ridicule on social media.
And that wasn't all. Young also defended the government's anti-terror legislation, suggesting it could have prevented the deadly bombing of an Air India flight 30 years ago.
CSIS knew or heard that there was a bomb on board this plane, but because of the strict laws that government departments have, they cannot share information between departments. I don't know if you guys know that.
Young later issued a retraction saying she misspoke and regretted the error. The former policy consultant and community activist handily won this riding in 2011, but a few years earlier she lost to Liberal Ujjal Dosanjh. In 2013, she spoke about that loss with CPAC's Catherine Clark.
Probably we should have appealed that election. Yeah. And, I think we probably may have been successful with that, who knows. So in hindsight, that's possibly what, we could have done. But who knew at the time? So I think what was motivating was the fact that there were so many people that came up to me after that and said, you have to run again. Yeah.
New Democrats have areas of support in Vancouver South, but the main fight here has traditionally been between Liberals and Conservatives. Amandeep Nijar hopes to change that.
Amandeep Nijar, our candidate.
Hi, nice to meet you. How are you?
Hope you can ask for your support. Okay. NDP.
Thanks.
Hello, hi.
Hi, how are you?
This is Amandeep Nijar, our candidate for Vancouver South.
Hi, how are you?
This is our candidate.
I'm Amandeep Niger.
She's running for the election.
Hi, how are you?
Unfortunately, we can't vote. But
You can't vote?
Yeah.
Okay. No, but if you want to come volunteer, we're looking for volunteers.
Really?
Oh, yeah, and then we can
The
give
office is like just down, like 2 blocks down.
and then we can give you a volunteer certificate too at the end of it.
Yeah, so check it out, you guys.
So if you want to just go to Fraser Street, just a few blocks over, and then we can write you down and we'll give you a certificate.
Okay.
Oh, it would help us if all of you can come and we can.
At what day and time we can?
Anytime.
Anytime.
We're open 9 a.m. till 9 p.m.
Yeah.
We're actually there till 11 p.m. But come in anytime. Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. Okay. So come there. Bye.
What do you say to people on this area of Fraser to get them to think about casting a vote for you?
They're actually, I don't have to convince them much.
Really?
It just naturally they take my sign and they put it up, and they're like, "We're voting NDP."
So explain that to me. How does that happen? Why does that happen?
It's I think it's the orange wave, and they're just ready for change, and that's why. I was really surprised at how easy it was this morning. I went on my own, and she said, "Oh no, me and my kids were just talking about this yesterday, and this is what we're going to do."
You're going to vote for the NDP?
For the NDP.
Now, is that because of Mulcair, do you think? Is the national campaign, have an effect here?
It's Canadians that want to change, so that's definitely the effect around here.
Yeah, and there's a big rally here a while back. That must give you a bit of a boost.
Yes, he came down, Mulcair did, and he announced senior healthcare, his platform, and that was definitely the announcements that he made here, and that was great.
So what do you need to do? I mean, obviously you need to get more votes than anybody else, but what do you need to do in this riding to win?
Meet everyone. Listening to their stories and talking to everyone. That's the most important thing that anyone can do.
One-on-one sort of interaction?
That's right. That's right.
Like most areas of Metro Vancouver, this riding has seen significant change in the past several years. For example, the Punjabi market area is getting smaller as many businesses relocate to nearby Surrey. Vancouver South is still primarily a residential riding, and it's growing increasingly multicultural.
English is not the mother tongue for about 70% of the people that live in Vancouver South, Punjabi and Mandarin being two of the more popular languages. Economically, there are low-income areas here and high-income areas, but this is predominantly a middle-class riding, at least what passes for middle class in Vancouver, with the average house price of about $1 million. Politically, all three parties have areas of strength here, but up until 2011, it was the Liberals riding.
Herb Dhaliwal was a Liberal MP.
Oh, missed it. Well, tell him I'm not running for anything.
Although he's still active in business, Dhaliwal's now got a bit more time to practice his golf.
We have a wonderful group of people living in this riding. They're very compassionate people. There are a lot of newcomers here, some established families. The area is quite unique. If you look at the Fraser Street Market, the Victoria Drive Market, the main and 49th, the Punjabi Market. It's quite a unique. It was actually interesting. I went around to all the markets, knocked on doors, and talked to them, and a lot of small business people here. So I think things that'll help the small business people will be helpful.
Vancouver's News, Vancouver's Talk.
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Steele. Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive on News Talk 980 CKNW. We're talking about the federal election race. We're halfway through, and BC is really one of the areas that the federal leaders are coming through quite frequently. And in Vancouver South in particular, it looks like it could be a very, very tight race. Insights West asked residents which leaders would make the best prime minister. And it's 28% for Justin Trudeau, 25% for Stephen Harper, 21% for Thomas Mulcair. So again, relatively close. The three leaders are all bunched up together. Again, the big key here is the undecided voter.
Mario Canseco, you are a pollster with Insights West. And I'm interested not necessarily on the national scene, but what's going on in Vancouver and in the Lower Mainland specifically. How do you see things breaking out?
Well, I think the main surprise over the past couple of weeks has been the rebirth of the Liberal Party as an urban presence in Metro Vancouver, doing remarkably well in Vancouver South, in West Vancouver, also in North Vancouver. Those are three ridings that they can definitely take. When you take that into the same box and you have the two ridings that they already hold, this could be one of their best elections in years. They're coming from a very weak position, though. They only got 13% of the vote in the last election federally. So anything more than 13% and 2 seats is a blessing. But they're definitely connecting better in the urban areas. Not much outside Metro Vancouver, not a lot of good numbers coming out of the island for the Liberals or in the Okanagan and the North, but they've always been primarily an urban party. When Jack Chrétien was forming governments in Ottawa, the Liberals were usually finishing in second place and getting most of their seats from the urban area. So it's a return to that. It's not necessarily an embrace of the Liberals and seeing them in first place, but they're doing better than they did the last time.
You're at the door, knock, knock, knock. I'm a voter. Give me your pitch. Why should I vote for you?
I'll start off by introducing myself to everyone, and of course giving a little bit of a background about me. I let voters know that I am from the riding and I grew up in this neighborhood, and I ask have they thought about the election, and they give me their response, and of course from there we talk about if they're, what are some issues that are important to them, and they let us know that, what I usually hear is healthcare, definitely jobs, and sometimes even Bill C-51 is what I hear. And one thing is clear is that they are not voting for Stephen Harper.
They want to change.
They definitely want to change.
So if I'm a voter that wants change, why should I pick you as opposed to the other alternatives?
Well, the NDP is the official opposition, and we can defeat Stephen Harper. That is why. We have a little leaflet that shows how many seats we have and how we can beat Stephen Harper.
Yeah. But I mean, that must be one of the challenges you face, right? Though, should I vote Liberal or should I vote NDP? How do you, if somebody says that I'm undecided, how do you get them to pick the New Democrats?
Well, of course, when they discuss about health care, we talk about health care and why they should vote for NDP versus other parties. If their concern is about housing affordability, we talk about that. So that is one way that we encourage voters to vote for NDP.
Just going over your plan.
Exactly.
You figure that the Mulcair plan is better than the Trudeau plan.
Exactly. Yeah, just going over a platform, and voters are well engaged with us. I'm very happy.
You're the Green candidate here.
Yes, I'm Elaine Ng from the Vancouver South.
Why did you decide to run for the Green Party?
It's always my passion to bring a new economy to Canada. And my background is all in banking. And for past 20-odd years, I was able to meet a lot of small, medium, and large corporations and companies, business people, owners, and employees. And I felt there was something really missing in Canada. And now we have children. We have a little child. And I'm looking at her, that for her to go into the oil industry, like the primary industry, oil, mineral extractions, forestry, commodities, that's right. And it's not possible. And she's very green. She's more green than I am. And I like to see her and her friends and her generations to be the powerhouse, to bring their world into a much better place. Solar energy is free. It is free. Wind energy is free. And then we win the rain. Hopefully there will be rain energy one day. Then I'll be so happy. That's my passion to come into politics. Picking Green Party, it just makes perfect sense. The agenda just fit in my culture, my passion, and my value.
Somebody involved in the banking industry, it's not typically what you would associate with somebody in the Green Party.
Absolutely, absolutely. It took me a while, too. The banking industry taught me about the concept of money. I was very lucky to be involved in a field of the very large, high level of positions at the bank, Scotiabank and Bank of Montreal. They are wonderful corporations. I also understand that money can be invested wisely. We can invest it into anything. And if I give you $1, you can use anything you want because you believe in that value. For that $1 in my pocket, I like to see something I can plant and grow, and my children and grandchildren, hopefully more children, can use that money and keep growing more and more. My $1 can turn to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why just keep doing extraction? is kind of a dead end for me as a business model. It's dead end. I like a more money tree. Look at all my trees. They are growing like crazy.
How do you think you could help as an MP?
Definitely the $15 a day childcare, capping it at $15 a day would definitely help out families. And that's one thing that I am seeing in the community, as well as myself, who did face childcare issues. When I was calling around, I was hearing that there's a 5-year wait list for childcare. And of course, kids will be in kindergarten by then, so which defeats the purpose. And childcare ranges from $1,000 to sometimes even $1,800 a month. And if you have 2 kids, you can just imagine how much that would cost. So that is one thing that I do want to help the community with, and it would definitely help families.
Is it a fairly young riding?
It's a diverse riding.
Organizationally, I know that there was some controversy over your nomination. There was another fellow that didn't get the nomination, made a little bit of noise, unhappiness, saying that there was interference from the leader's office, etc. Is that sort of controversy going to hurt you when you're running your campaign?
As I stated earlier, we ran the nomination, and we were out there to making our memberships and getting ready for the nomination. My opponent withdrew a week prior, and a lot of the internal nomination process is between the party and the party for him. In terms of the community, I was very confident right from the get-go, based on the memberships that we had, that the wider community, not just the East Indian community, but the wider community, I did have the support. Our membership base actually showed that, and I'm happy to say that now that I'm in door knocking, I can show you the map afterwards. I've already door knocked pretty much the entire riding, and we've already started a second pass, and that's what I'm already hearing, is that my sense of connection with the community as a police officer as well, I have that wider connection, because when I served, whether I was a police officer or as a soldier, I had the Canadian flag on my shoulder, and my job was to serve the entire community.
Well, you tell me, what was the controversy?
Well, I mean, I think an open nomination would have been better. It would have included more people. It would have let the grassroots determine the outcome. In the end, the party makes certain decisions. I'm not a party to all of those decisions. But I think in the end, people are going to vote for the party they think will best represent their values. And as a party, we know we have controversies, but at the end of the day, we come together as one. And I think they'll do that again here in Vancouver South. And that's why I'm confident we'll win this. And we have a very good candidate running in Vancouver South, and he'll do very well.
Fraser, and just about here. This is where we are.
Yeah. So in the sort of northwest corner of the riding.
Exactly.
So is there areas of strength within the riding for the New Democrats?
We're seeing a different response this time. So we're seeing a variety of new strengths, you could call it. Just we could definitely see a push for New Democrats as well. But we do have a very strong, you could say, pole, which is in the upper right here in the northeast corner.
So sort of beside Burnaby, which has always been a stronghold for the New Democrats, right?
Exactly. And this is some of the polls here we inherited, which belong to Don Davies,
right.
MP.
After redistribution.
Exactly. So that is definitely something that is great for us in this riding.
Yeah, I would think that perhaps the Liberals might be stronger over towards Canby and up and down that, and the Conservatives rather, over in that side of the riding.
And we did lose Granville and Oak and a part of Canby as well. So it's definitely, I think for us, it looks great.
Yeah. So you think you're in a better position after redistribution?
Yes, definitely.
Because of that, the polls over near Burnaby.
Exactly, and what we're getting at the doorstep there is that they're not actually aware of the boundary changes. They are having difficulty parting with Don Davies, but they are happy as well that they're part of this. Yeah.
So if you talk to the pundits, one of the things they might say is in a riding like this where you've got 3 close candidates and 2 of them are on sort of the progressive vote, that's an advantage to the Conservatives. Have you thought about that strategically?
We have thought about just working with families to work with us with the NDP. So that's what we're doing, is working with families.
You're not really worried about anybody else or how the vote might split?
No. definitely not. We're just targeting where we can get the votes in, and that's our main focus.
We know that about 50% of Canadian voters are actually still undecided. I happen to be one of those people. So a lot of people are wondering about that, not really sure who to vote for, not really sure that they've heard enough from the leaders to distinguish them. Still in the polls, 30, 31%, 32%, they're all jammed up, very, very close, and all the leaders are afraid to make a gaffe that might widen the vote a little bit for them. Harper, Trudeau, Mulcair have all been flying back and forth to BC and Vancouver to woo us West Coasters.
It's an issue of really connecting with the voters who have left you in the past. And you know, I think this was quite a surprise for the Conservatives when Wai Young won that seat back in 2011. She hasn't had a fantastic couple of months, certain comments that she's made in the media that were quite strange. Yep. And I think it's really about trying to reconnect with the base, and it's easier to do when the Conservative government is facing difficulties. At the height of the Duffy trial, some of the discussions that we've had in the past, it was normal for them to start to drop as far as their share of the vote. Now, with the news of the economic surplus, then maybe things are going to be changing a little bit. But when it comes to the riding-by-riding level, it's more important to have a candidate that the community can really rally with. And I think Harjit Singh has done that very well.
So there's obviously certainly a large ethnic population in the riding.
That's
a lot
right.
of people that don't speak English.
Yes, I would say so. Yeah.
Does that change how you campaign?
It does, because my goal is always, and I've learned this actually in the military when we used to do recruiting, our goal is if you want to send a message, right, we want to make sure the message that we're sending is going to be interpreted equally by everybody. So if I say it in a certain way, everybody will interpret that message differently. So we want to make sure as we cater the message to make sure that the interpretation is going to be the same as best as possible.
Explain what you mean.
Well, each community is different. It's about, this is the beautiful thing about Canada, and especially in South Vancouver. It's multicultural. Yeah. We learned this in policing very well, actually, to learn and understand the communities. The more you understand about different cultures, people's cultures, the better connection that you might have. Right. So when you're communicating, so for example, when we used to recruit in the military, especially within the Sikh community, the East Indian community, the warrior culture is like veterans are held up to a high standard, and doctors even here. And I say this because my wife's a doctor, right? So when we go to events, even though she's a doctor, far more qualified than me, far smarter, right? And sometimes so people will gravitate to me. But having said that, each culture is different, and we want to make sure that when we are talking, it's that they're interpreting the same message. The interpretation is going to be the same. So that's what it's about. It's about understanding the simple nuances of the thought process of the different cultural backgrounds of people.
The undecided, I think, will be the key to who wins this riding.
That's right. So with someone like him, he said he'll decide in a week. Yeah. So we'll probably go back to him in a week and a half. And I'll mark it down on my sheet so that we do come back to him.
So that's the plan. That's the way it's working, right?
That's right.
You want to go back and make sure that you get the undecided.
Exactly. That's right.
So what do you say to him the second time? Have you decided yet, or?
Yeah. Have you thought about it, and just maybe put some other, issues out there that are important to other people, and then of course leave another leaflet. Yeah. And then if you have to come back the third time, then we'll come back the third time too.
Do you have any problems doing it? I mean, is it something that comes natural to you? I know a lot of people that, they knock on somebody's door they've never seen before.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah?
Oh, I could do it all day. Yeah, so for me it's a lot of fun, and just meeting people is the best part.
In this riding, who do you think your main opposition is? Conservatives, NDP?
Honestly, I think it's both. I don't really get too much into the opposition side. If somebody has a question regarding them, I rarely actually talk about them. I don't try to even contrast issues. I really just focus on who I am and why I chose the Liberal Party. What are we going to do for you, right? And focus on the positive message, because that's what it should be. They should be voting for someone, not against someone. We do get a lot of anything but Harper, right? But I focus it back to saying, read up on who I am. They have the Conservative incumbent, they already have a good track record to take a look, and their track record is nothing. It has been, well, we don't know. No, you're the first one that came to the door. I don't know how many times I've actually got that. Wow, you're the first one that's actually come to the door, and I'm actually surprised. It's really, after all these years, and
is there an advantage to being an incumbent in this riding for Wai Young?
Right now, I think If she had done something for the community, it would have been. But right now, no, it's not. That's what I'm hearing at the doorstep, and it's making it easier for me to have that conversation when somebody says, "Wow, you're the first one that came to the door," right? And that sense of connection is there. And to me, it's very simple. As a politician, that's what you should be doing, is getting to know the community. It's not about me earning the vote. It's about them getting to know me and me learning about their issues.
Green Party has the right agenda that across the world, all the Green parties are doing the same thing. Canada is a bit young, but it is good to be young because we become the powerhouse. We're more creative, I would say braver, right? And also we got some oldies like the one in Europe, they make mistakes, we can learn that. Green Party has the agenda. We are not just one issue, we have many issues. Economy is one of the biggest platform.
So if you're campaigning in Vancouver South, obviously, you walk up to the door and you knock on the door and somebody opens the door, a voter. Give me your pitch. Tell me what you would say to them.
I would say I'm Green Party. I'm a strong independent voice. And with our agenda of the green energy economy, it takes a while, but we are a loud voice to make Ottawa change, to listen to us. That is not just resources technology. For our Vancouver South riding is also a clean energy industry, a world, Canada, I'm bringing to them. I'm new. I will always say I'm new to politics. I have the background in the money training that hopefully with that loud voice in me, a bit shy, but very loud voice in my agenda, in my passion, I can bring that to Ottawa.
So do the issues differ depending where you go in the riding?
No, issues are the same. You know, every other door you might come across a senior, every other door you might come across a young family, so different issues, but it's very well spread out.
One of your campaign workers was saying that you often run across family members?
Yes, or someone that I know in the neighborhood, which is great as well, because I have to stop canvassing and say hi and just spend a couple of minutes with them. But
that's kind of the best kind of canvassing, isn't it?
Yes, and of course they're like, don't worry about us. We have your vote, so I mean we're voting for you, so it's okay. Move on.
Is there a political in your family? Is there a political history? I mean, have you been politically active?
No, not within my family. I myself have been politically active.
Through the union?
Yes, exactly, through the union, and that's what got me started in politics.
Yeah, you work for COPE, right?
COPE 378, that's right, in the finance department.
So what made you decide that you wanted to become a candidate?
Definitely the $15, the childcare issue, just being part of a plan that will introduce something that is much needed for Canadian families is something that I want to be a part of.
That map represents your hard work, right? It's nicely color-coded, and the team went a little crazy with the red there. But when you see that, well, what we've actually accomplished, what you have accomplished, this is it. Now we're down to the home stretch. Let's get this done. And like I said, this is where it gets busy. But we've had a lot of fun along the way. Now let's get this done and let's have fun right on October 20th. Okay? So thank you very much.
Strategists from all the parties know they've got to get it done in Vancouver South.
Hi, man. Sorry to bother you this evening. Hi, my name is Harjeet Sajan. I'm the Liberal candidate for Vancouver South.
In a close election campaign, voters in places like this often decide who will form the next government.